Hey guys, Jared Duckett, Duckett Lad. I just want to welcome you guys to the video series we've been doing, Setting Up for Scaling Up, where we're talking to business owners about 8 principles we think that need to be in place to prepare your business for meaningful growth. And this is my first episode. The first 4 were done by my partner, Bill Ladd, and all 4 of those that he talked about were more what I call high flying. They're more theoretical. He's more of the visionary in our firm, and I'm more of the integrator. So these next 4 that we're going to talk about are more tactical. They're more boots on the ground, but I think they're extremely important to put in place in your business to allow you to scale up. But the one we're going to talk about today, we're going to talk about documenting your processes and procedures. And normally when I say that to somebody, the first thing they think of, boy, that's boring, you know, or they take it for granted. Well, I've already got those in place. And when I talk to people, they always think that, or when I talk to them, they're like, well, they just undervalue it so much. But the importance of this is so large because it's just underestimated. But by finally putting processes and procedures in place, it creates that consistency, which allows you to scale your business. So with us today, we've got Kevin Hutchison, owner-operator of Chick-fil-A Branson. And Kevin, appreciate you being here.
Hey, glad to be here. Thanks for having me.
But the first thing I thought of when I was like, man, I need to talk to a business owner about processes and procedures. Automatically, because when I talk about this, I'm always talking about franchises. Because franchises, they not only have that brand that comes with them, but when you get a franchise, you're getting those processes and procedures. And I thought, man, Kevin, you're perfect to bring here, talk about this, because nobody has a more well-oiled machine, I think, than Chick-fil-A. So talk about a little bit about processes and procedures in your business. How do you have those documented? How do you kind of give those to your team members so that they can just jump on board and start running?
For sure, yeah. So we like to say that with Chick-fil-A, it's great to be in business for yourself, but not by yourself. And so I think that there's a lot of franchise models that could probably say the same thing. Maybe some not so much. You kind of get thrown out there with a manual and to the wolves you go. But with Chick-fil-A, so we've got a lot of great processes and procedures because the menu is the same around the country. So whether it's recipes, and procedural things like that, I mean, there's a menu to go off of. And it's something that we can hand to our team members, and whether they're in Branson, Missouri, or Seattle, Washington, here it is. They've got that. There comes a lot of opportunities for us as individual franchisees to be able to kind of put our own spin on what we want our restaurant to look like outside of kind of that base, just structure there. And so for us, what we do is we want the team member experience to be as easy and as seamless as possible as we bring new team members on. Now, sometimes if they come on in the middle of the summer in Branson, maybe that's not as easy as if they come on in January and February, and we're looking for things to do versus we're looking for ways to control the crowds.
Right.
But what we try to do is just be able to start them off with a great experience and give them the knowledge that they need to be able to meet some pretty high expectations.
Right.
In doing so, and I'll say I'll probably mention a couple of things, and just to lay the groundwork, I'm not a paid sponsor for any of the things that I mention.
Right.
But we use some really cool stuff at our restaurant that may or may not be used at other Chick-fil-A's, but may also be used in a lot of other businesses.
Okay.
So one of those is Jolt software, and so Jolt is just basically a wide open space that you can really do a lot of things from communication with your team to lists to label printing for all of our food products. And so that was kind of the way that it got its rise within some Chick-fil-A franchisees. Is it had an iPad integrated app that could easily change food labels when we add new products and whatnot. And so it was neat, versus handwriting out some labels. Hey, a team member, a millennial, hey, why would they not want to press a button on an iPad versus writing something out? And but then we realized it became a lot more consistent to do it that way also.
Sure.
But then when we started looking, well, what else can Jolt do for us? They have this platform that for checklists that's just kind of wide open. You design what you want. And so we started thinking through the restaurant, okay, well, how do we open the restaurant? We had a group of great team members that knew how to do it well, but what happens if team member A, who always does the same thing in the morning, is sick, and team member B, while they may still be there and doing their own thing in the morning, maybe they don't know what team member A does. And so now they have the ability to go grab an iPad and say, okay, well, here's what I need to do to open the restaurant if I'm working in the front of the house, and here's what I need to do to open the restaurant if I'm in the back of the house, or if I'm in the breading area. And so it allows somebody to pick that up and say, okay, well, I get it. I know how to. I need to first make sure that I'm brewing tea, because if I don't start brewing tea, then at 6:30, well, it's going to take 9 minutes to brew tea. And so we kind of have that sequence of what's needed. But then whenever possible, we also have attached job aids to all those things. So if somebody says, oh, you know what? I've seen people do this before, but I don't know how to set the ice cream machine up. Well, they can hit the info button and it blows up either a video or a document that allows them to say, okay, well, here's the step-by-step on this particular procedure. So it kind of ties the what we've desired to have for our team and then everything that's available through Chick-fil-A together. So we've got kind of all those things that you might have seen, or if you've done it a few times, you kind of know it, and you don't have to use the instruction manual, if you will. But
right.
But then it's always there at their fingertips, and then just to know who did it, so that we can celebrate it when it's done right, or to coach it if it's been done wrong. They're signing off to say, hey, I completed these tasks today, and
right.
you know that they're putting their name on it.
See, some of those sounds like the most simple processes, right?
Yeah.
Opening the store,
Right.
Unlocking the door, getting the day started.
Mm-hmm.
But it's so key to get those certain things done in the right time frame.
Yep.
Because if you forget one, like you said, the tea, maybe that's only a 9-minute difference, but something else might have a larger difference.
Sure.
That can set everybody behind.
Yeah.
And you mentioned real quick, checklists.
Mm-hmm.
So for opening the store, they've got a checklist that they go through.
Sure.
Is checklist kind of one of the big ways you document those processes? You also mentioned videos too.
Yeah.
But kind of talk about how it gets to the team member, how they're seeing that stuff.
Yeah. So with this particular software, Jolt, so everybody has their own login. So they log in to know that, hey, I put my name on this today. And so there's, I think we counted that we have about 17 iPads in the restaurant.
Wow.
Because we do a lot of things with iPads, whether it's
Right.
taking orders or executing stuff like this. And so they can go grab an iPad and know if they're opening and closing, doing weekly cleaning, all those kind of things. Here it is.
Yeah.
I can check it off and go from there, and then I can also reference that if I have questions. So it also then basically all that just rolls up into reporting for us, so we can look back and see, even when was the list completed on time. If a list populated at 2 o'clock to be done by 4 o'clock, did it get completed by 4 o'clock, or did that individual?
It's kind of accountability.
Yeah. So it's accountability, information, and a lot of clarity of what's needed to be done all at one time.
Interesting. Now, one thing I've got to ask you while you're here is the Chick-fil-A drive-through process.
Yeah.
And there's so many times I'll go, to the local Chick-fil-A, and I go there around noon, because I'm starving, and I pull up, and there is cars all over the place. Mm-hmm. Parking lot's full. I'm not going to go in. I'm going to go through drive-through because I'm in a hurry, but it's so backed up. But yet I still get in line because I know from experience I'm going to get through that line so fast. Sometimes I'm almost thinking I don't ever really come to a complete stop.
Yeah.
So talk about first of all, how that came to be, the drive-through process, but then what it does for your production, efficiency and production, to implement that process.
Yeah. So originally we called what you see out in the drive-through play, and then it became face-to-face ordering, and now it's called IPOS. And so there's been a lot of evolution really over the last probably 10 years of what you now see in the drive-through, and then there's continued evolution of what's to come. So what we see nationwide is that about 65% of the business for Chick-fil-A restaurants is in the drive-thru.
Wow.
And so we've had to deal with the increasing volume by figuring out ways to increase the capacity. So
Right.
I remember when I was learning Chick-fil-A back in Atlanta, but prior to franchise selection, so working at a restaurant, we had a really high performing drive-thru, but we were always looking for that next thing. It wasn't let's wait to pull up to the speaker box during peak periods. It was, okay, if I got out there and I had my iPhone headset in, and I called a team member in the drive-thru cockpit, and I could say, Jared, I have a number one with a Coke, complete. And they would say, 683. And I'd say 683 is your total. Happy to serve you at the window.
Wow.
And then we took it to another level. Because if there was ever that little delay, well, we were always focused on the bottleneck of the order point. Then we went beyond that and said, well, what if we put extra people out there? And before people got to that point of ordering, what if we took their order, we wrote it down, so we had little Post-it notes or something, we'd write the order down, we'd say, okay, and if you'll give this to the next person up in line, then they'll call your order in. And so we kind of had the handwritten method for a while, and we did that for, honestly, probably a couple of years. And then we were able to kind of start integrating in iPad ordering, which has been huge for us. So now, whether you're in Branson, Springfield, or Joplin, depending on time of year and time of day, you'll see outside ordering taking place. And what that allows us to do is if we're able to take orders prior to you getting to what would be the traditional order point, then it just allows our kitchen production team a little bit more time to make all those orders. What we've also then added in the last couple of years is you'll see at locations where it makes sense, you'll see an outside payment station. And basically we're just processing the payment instead of waiting to the window. Like you see a lot of our competitors have a second window. Well, we use a secure stand out in the drive-thru lane. But then what they're also able to do is they're able to walk up the line, swipe credit cards, and have mobility as opposed to a second window where you're kind of tied to that one spot. So we've just continued to say, okay, the business is coming to the drive-thru, and we love that.
Right.
What do we do to continue to address those points of stress for our team?
Yeah.
And it's eliminating those bottlenecks. First at the order point, then at the payment. What you'll probably see in the future as at peak periods is that you're not actually you're not paying anything at the window. It's either being taken care of by a credit card swipe in the drive-thru, or it's being taken care of at outside payment station. And then you may actually not even stop at the window. You may pull 1 to 2 cars forward. Because if we can continue to pull the lane forward and we have outside runners in secure running zones, then we can pull the cars all the way 2 cars ahead of the window. We give you your food there, and the next 2 or 3 people their food.
Interesting.
And so we're continuing to try to innovate of what that drive-thru experience looks like in order to be able to execute 150, 200, 250 cars per hour coming through the drive-thru. So,
well, what you guys are doing is addressing. I mean, you're seeing the volume of drive-thru increase, and most people would be, well, that's increasing, but what you guys are doing is accommodating that and thinking, how can we get it longer? I mean, you're talking about your drive-thru line not going to the speaker box, but getting people before the speaker box.
Right.
And then even not at the delivery window, but after the delivery window.
Right.
Which is just huge.
We're pretty landlocked in most of our scenarios.
Yeah.
Every once in a while we'll have a huge lot that's got place to pull off, and that's one in a lot of new restaurants. If we have that ability to have an extra 10 feet on the width, then we'll have it where if we can deliver the meal to the third car in line, well then they can pull out a line and the line can continue to move. So it's just I think a continued emphasis on how do we continue to make the drive-thru experience as fluid as it possibly can be, and deliver on the trust that you've put in us, and saying,
Right.
you know what, even though the line's on, I'm going to continue to go to Chick-fil-A.
Well, what you talked about specifically with this drive-thru process is how having a process in place is huge, but how it's evolved over time. So once it's in place, you can fine-tune it to continue to make a consistent process that delivers on, Chick-fil-A standard of excellence.
Yeah.
With this exceptional service, exceptional food, in a fast time.
Yeah.
So that's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, real quick, end on, if you could give, not necessarily a franchise owner or whatever, but if you could give a small business owner some advice on if they don't have processes and procedures in place, how can they get started? I mean, what would be the first thing to do and how to kind of get the ball rolling?
Yeah, so again, not a paid advertiser, but 2 Second Lean by Paul Akers.
Okay.
He's a guy that owned a manufacturing company, started studying some of the best manufacturing organizations in the world to figure out how to make process easier.
Yeah.
So I think if you're going to start with trying to set either new standards or put processes and procedures in place, it's best to do it in the most efficient manner.
Right.
And so Paul Akers talks about just being lean in your organization. Now that doesn't mean doing more with less people. It means saving steps and making procedures that are team member friendly. And remember, you may not be the smartest person in your organization,
Exactly.
But tap into the people that do the work every day. And so being able to just kind of streamline where you keep things. What is that procedure? If you think it's step 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, but really 5 should actually be in step 3 to make the experience better for the team member, then maybe tap into the team member for that. So it's just a great book that you can really apply to so many areas of your business that just kind of creates that mentality of we want to be as efficient as possible. Because if we're efficient, then ultimately people they're not working as hard. They're doing things that are wasting motion and steps and all kinds of things. So 2 Second Lean is a great book to read.
Perfect.
Then from there, I would encourage to start with the end in mind. If you're going to
That's great advice.
if you want to put procedures in place, you got to figure out why you want to do that. A lot of times it's because you're not getting the results that you want.
Right.
And so if you want to put procedures in place in a certain area, figure out what the goal for that area is. And then back into, okay, well, if X is my goal, then what do I need to do to achieve that?
So kind of that standard of excellence.
Yeah,
What
absolutely.
is that standard of excellence? How are you going to achieve that? That's where process is going to be.
Yeah, for sure. And then don't forget to celebrate when you get 90% there week 1, but you don't get 100% there. I tell our team, don't let perfection be the enemy of better.
Ooh.
And so the ability to celebrate when things get going in the right direction is a good thing. But if all you're focused on is the black and white, and unless we make it 100% of the way first week,
Right.
then we failed. I think that if there was no process and procedure in place and you make it 90% of the way week 1, then that's a pretty good deal.
That's great advice.
So just not letting perfection be the enemy of better.
Oh, that's perfect. Guys, take those away. I mean, that's good stuff right there, definitely. But Kevin, appreciate you coming here. I want to give you a little second. I mean, everybody knows Chick-fil-A. Everybody goes to Chick-fil-A. It's just a great experience, great food. But kind of tell us a little bit about specifically your location, Chick-fil-A Branson.
Yeah.
What are you guys doing down there? New, exciting?
Yeah. So I talked about the averages, right? 65% of the business stays in the
Right.
drive-through. Well, I would say that we're one of the significant anomalies to that. So with our customer makeup, we do less than 50% of the business through the drive-through. So
Really?
we have to be looking at things like how can we make the experience better for all those folks that want to come and dine in. They're on vacation, they've been on the
Right.
road, they don't necessarily want to grab food and stay on the road. We have tons of Kanakuk counselors, 2,500 of them that are in town for the summer, and really they just want a place to rest and fellowship away from their duties of the week. And so whether it's through organizations like that, or I mean just so many that people have called Chick-fil-A Branson the new community center, and so we love that because it's just a cool opportunity to have a place where people can come together and fellowship. But what we also have to do is kind of evaluate what the challenges are in that space. And so some of that last year in March, I started realizing that our team members were always taking trash to the back. It was, if you stay in the drive-thru, guess what? They take the trash with them. But if they come in the dining room, we have to take it out, right? And so we started counting, and during a lunch period, we may be taking 20, 25 bags of trash out based on that heavy dine-in volume. So last year we installed compactors in the dining room that compact the trash in place.
Right.
So our team members do about 1/8 of the trips to carry trash, so that they can spend more time serving guests. And the order taking that you see in the drive-thru, and I guess November of last year, we started doing that inside. So we're pre-ordering to again allow our kitchen team an extra 45 or 50 seconds to be able to produce the food.
Wow.
And be able to have a face-to-face experience in the dining room.
Yeah.
Looks like we're fixing to start a project to fully cover the patio, because we'll be one of the only Chick-fil-A's in the country that has a fully covered patio with almost 50 seats outside, because there again, people want to come and hang out, and we've got great weather down in Branson, a lot of gentle breeze all the time. Even in the midst of summer, it's not too intolerable to sit outside. So we're about to embark on redoing the patio, where most people are saying, I don't need the seats, give me the capacity in the drive-through. I'm saying, no, everybody wants to come inside. Let's
You're
see
tailored to those clients.
See what we can do for them.
Yeah. That's perfect, man.
So, yeah.
I tell you what, well-oiled machine, you look that up in the dictionary, and that's Chick-fil-A Branson.
Thanks so
I mean,
much.
you guys
We
are
appreciate
just,
it.
you got a systemized processes, procedures in place, churning. I mean, that is awesome, man. I
you.
appreciate you coming.
Yeah,
I mean, a
my
lot of
pleasure.
insight there, definitely.
Absolutely.
Well, guys, I hope you enjoyed that. I mean, Kevin, I mean, all that knowledge, I mean, we could sit here and probably talk for another 30 minutes on what they're doing at their location and how they're putting stuff in place to directly make that customer's life better. I mean, they're creating that standard of excellence, and it's all about that consistency. And guys, that is what you get when you put processes and procedures in place. Guys, get a lot out of Kevin's stuff here, and until next time, go get better.